Hi there. Imagine in the late 1930s, a graduate student at the University of California, Berkeley, was arriving late to statistics class. And this class was taught by a renowned professor. And on the blackboard, this professor had written two problems. And the student, of course, he didn't know, right? And he thought that these problems were actually homework assignments. But in fact, those problems were examples of like famously unsolved statistic problems. But this student didn't know that, right? So thinking that they were just regular assignments, he took them home, worked really hard at them, and eventually solved both. A few weeks later, this student informed the professor that the solutions were not only correct, but were groundbreaking. Because the students were thinking, hey, why aren't you like asking for the homework, right? And the professor said, like, those were no problems that were homework for you. Like, actually, those were examples on really unsolvable problems so far. And not only was correct, but also was groundbreaking. It was the base for kind of doing really interesting research on the statistics field. And the story has become a metaphor for the power of mindset, right? How not knowing something it's impossible can sometimes lead to remarkable achievements. And it's often shared as an inspirational tale of education, business and self-help context, right? Because if you think about it, right, we actually get the limitations from other people and we self-impose those limitations. And maybe we have capacity to solve those because we're coming from different contexts and maybe with different backgrounds and experience. And we actually can solve those. But if we think that those problems are unsolvable, at the minimum point of friction, we might just give up because, hey, those are unsolvable, right? But if you don't know that and you think that more people have actually solved them, then you will push yourself harder and you will reach your limitations. But maybe those limitations are beyond what's for solving, right? So this concept is very, very powerful. So this story is actually real. Like as I mentioned, it was in the 1930s. It was George Dantzig that was the student, and the professor was Jersey Newman. And yeah, again, the research was groundbreaking in the field of statistics. And this example has actually happened many times again, right? In the for athletes, where every time we set a record, and a lot of people, it's been there for some time, right? A lot of people say that it's impossible to pass that record, and maybe someone passes it, right? After that someone passes it, then there's a lot of people in the same year that actually reach that point because normally we self-impose like we kind of are machines of preserving energy, right? So by the moment that we actually get into a friction point and we think that it's impossible to do, like we just kind of give up, right? Our brain just disconnects and we're not trying to go farther for most of the time, right? So yeah, something to keep in mind for going forward with anything in our lives. We need to be careful on imposing limitations or our own limitations to someone else because actually someone else might come from a different perspective with different capacity that can actually solve a lot of things that we are not able to. And the same goes in both ways. Like we need to be careful every time someone says, okay, that's impossible or that hasn't been done yet or this is unsolvable, right? So this is the perfect example. So I will lead you to with that concept. I hope that you find it interesting. If you find interesting things like that, again, interesting, you can go to makingmyself.com. We have a mental model repository there. We also have the app that you can do a personality test, and we actually adapt mental models for you as your personality, as per your personality results, right? So I think those are really powerful tools that will allow us to keep improving and making ourselves. All right, hopefully that was interesting for you. So with that, I'm wishing you the best for the week. Take care. Bye.